Hi, everyone. My name is Sara Jensen. I am the co-founder and co-CEO of Hugh Grace, the leading hormone health wellness brand. And it is my pleasure today to introduce you to Jamie Sheppard. Jamie is our top leader. We've known each other for about a year and a half now, and the things that she has accomplished and done at Hugh Grace has been truly remarkable. And I would love for you to hear from her. So Jamie, please introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I thank you, Sarah, for having me on today. I'm so excited to share with everyone and to get to brag on my team a little bit and just what we are so proud to have been able to accomplish here for, 14, 15 months now at Hugh and Grace. I have been in direct sales for about 12 years. I was a school counselor in a past life and built to the very, very top of my previous company, and I thought I'd be there forever. But then, as I hit my 40s and my health and wellness changed and my needs changed, and that kind of paralleled a shift a shift in the culture of my previous company, and I found myself really out of alignment. And I think if you've ever been in that place in your life, it manifests into physical unhealth as well. And so I spent 10 years as a health and wellness advocate and leader, but then was really struggling with my own health issues and was 10 years older than I was when I first started and dealing with different health and wellness needs. So I started looking elsewhere for my own health solutions. I was working with a functional medicine doctor and really looking for products and resources and tools to help me help myself with my health needs, in my early 40s, and then also being able to serve and support my customers and my team as well, who was in a similar age demographic. And through a Google search for marine collagen, I found Hugh and Grace, and then a series of awesome um, steps. I got to talk to Sarah directly. And while I wasn't at the time looking necessarily to leave and come to a new company, I definitely knew that I was unhappy and unwilling to stay in a place where I was out of alignment and unhappy. And so in meeting Sarah, it was, Sarah, you just planted this like little seed of, wow, this is my dream place to live. Like this would be a dream to get to partner with you. I think you and Ben have the most incredible story and have the most have a really vast experience base in terms of your professional careers. And that really spoke to me because it was different than what I was familiar with in terms of leadership from a direct sales company. And that gave me a lot of confidence and hope in terms of what I was wanting to partner with in this next chapter of my career. Because it was, I felt like it was gonna inform and keep our a company really alive and healthy and innovative in this space. So would you tell a little bit about like your guys' professional backgrounds? Because I think that really like caught my attention initially.
Yes, and it's interesting. Like Ben and I never thought we'd ever create a direct sales company or even a company in general. And it was just a personal story, and there's a whole story behind it. But I'll tell you our professional background because I think it is helpful. If you're going to look at another company, you want to know the kind of people you're partnering with. So my husband, he started as an investment banker, then went to commercial real estate. He's done billions of dollars of transactions. He has his MBA in Master of Real Estate Development from University of Southern California. He was recruited to do a prestigious leadership rotation program. In his last role, he was overseeing a multi-billion-dollar family office in Beverly Hills, overseeing global investment portfolio strategies, turning around companies with hundreds of employees operating. In my professional background, I have my MBA from USC. I've always worked in philanthropy. In my last role, I was working with USC's top alumni and parents across the country, helping billionaires really create their legacy gifts. And so it was our knowledge, but also our network when we said we need to create this company. We focus on hormone health, and there was no other solutions that were out there. And realizing that direct sales was really the way we needed to approach this topic of hormone health, because 6, 7 years ago, no one was talking about hormone health. They are now, which is super exciting. But we said if we're going to truly create a holistic solution, it's more than just selling products. There's education and content and awareness with products and community. That's the holistic solution. And so how do we as outsiders looking at a direct sales company, we said our direct sales model, how do we make it modern? How do we really keep it where it's at the forefront, where we're meeting people where they are, keeping it relevant, and also having that brand authenticity that people, consumers crave so much in today's retail economy.
Yeah. Well, and not just consumers craving it, like as, a direct sales professional, like this was my career. Like I started as a school counselor and built, built to the very, very tippity top. And so like this, that wasn't my vision when I first started. I just needed to be able to like pay for groceries and which is also very impactful and meaningful. But coming to a point where this has been my full-time job for so many years, it's a hard decision to be able to look at that place you've built these deep roots and go like, I am so unhappy, but how could I ever pivot, right? Like, especially when I'm the sole provider for my family. And so it was that mission for you, like that was that mission and that heart and that authenticity that transferred via our phone conversation that really like hooked me because I was like, I really, really just recognizing that that element was missing in my career and I didn't feel that deep trust and purpose driven passion in that mission anymore. And like I said, like fitness and nutrition is so important and it was such a big part of my health and my career for a long time, but hormone health is the umbrella above that. Like fitness and nutrition, weight, all of those things are under a bigger umbrella of hormone health that was really and when I recognized that and started zooming out in my own health and my own path and my own career, it was like a lot of it was that stress and that burnout. And that was really fueled by a lack of alignment. And really like I felt I internalized a lot of messages of like I'm not working hard enough and I, needed to do more when it was really like I gave everything I possibly could. And so I like literally burned myself out into an adrenal disease. And so I had to like if I was to make a shift, right? And ultimately take my team and people who trusted me to lead them somewhere new, it had to be somewhere with a mission and a trustworthy, skilled, capable leadership that are heart-led, community-driven, people like you and Ben, and a community, at Hugh and Grace. Like those are the things that really captured me because our where we root ourselves in in our work can either fuel us and add to our lives or it can really take from it, right? And I was in that position where I was really struggling with that lack of alignment and that burnout, but I wasn't even aware that it was burnout. It was just like manifesting in all these health issues and anxiety and stress. I would lay awake at night just unsure. And I had lost that faith and that trust that like it would be okay. Because the, this consume like the consumer landscape, whether, regardless of what, if it's a brick and mortar or just the what we're looking for in terms of what people are wanting to buy or where they're wanting to like build an income, like those priorities have shifted in recent years, right? Like, and people want to work with brands that they trust. I think we see more and more and more. We're, it's revealed almost daily, like brands that I thought I could trust to be clean and non-toxic and transparent are have been poisoning me with like bad ingredients, things like that. And so I'm not interested in like what the most famous person on Instagram is selling me. Like I want a brand that I can trust and I know my team and my customers they trust me to do that research and to do that to do that homework. And I take that seriously when I put a brand in front of someone, a company or a product. I want them to know they trust that I did that homework for them. And so I was really, I mean, I'm sure you remember, like we had so many questions about transparency and formulation and sourcing of products and ingredients um and I just felt so excited every time you share a little bit more. Talk a little bit, if you would, about like the formulator calls. That was one of the things that like hooked me. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a what? The formulators do what?
Yes. And Jamie, also, I want to touch back on that. I'll definitely talk about formulator calls, but if you're listening to this and you're a leader, because I've talked to so many leaders, especially recently, but you have that trust of so many people.
Mhm.
And I remember Jamie, one of the questions you asked me, like, And I tell people, I'm like, Jamie, this business is not about Ben and Sarah. It's not even about you as a leader. It's about your people and your community who trust you. And we want everyone to win. And we want to make sure that when you're making these big decisions, how does that not only impact you, but impact your team? So we'll go back to that, but I will touch briefly on the formulator calls. We are very fortunate as a relatively young brand. We're 3.5 years in, so we're not we're not startup mode anymore. But it was because of Ben and my relationships that we were able to call the best manufacturers and best product manufacturers in different product categories and be able to have those people work with us. That most brands don't ever get those kind of resources. We have world-renowned doctors who sell our products. We are not perfect. We do say that we are not perfect. We are all about progress. I never want to be perfect. But it's really when people get around a mission that's so impactful. When we talk about hormone health, hormones impact your physical health, your mental health, your sexual health, your skin health. It's everything from longevity to weight management to clear skin to better sleep and less stress. So we bring on the formulators and we say, okay, why do we work with these ingredients? And why does this here? And why do we choose this product over this one? And so we have that all resources available. People want to dive in. We have amazing FAQs and one sheets, but we also don't want people to feel like, oh my gosh, I have to learn so much before I can open my mouth. I have to be a hormone health expert. And I love a saying, actually, Amy on your team said, you don't need to be a chef to recommend a great restaurant. You can easily say, this is what I love. This is what my family loves. And I can stand behind it. World-renowned doctors sell this product, but I can stand behind it because if you want the information, it's there. If you want the science, it's there. But I don't want people feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to become an expert before I can even talk about Hugh Grace.
Well, yeah, and I think that I'm just so glad you spoke to that because it's so easy to overcomplicate our health, our business, our relationships, and I think that that's something that I saw a lot. It got when you confuse, you lose, and it got so hard for even my own health, and then that translates into your work. That translates into your leadership. Like it was impossible to guide people to health when I just felt like it was like almost we're working against ourselves. And so again, when I was looking at what, even just your origin story in your and Ben's infertility struggle, like it was all rooted in this authentic mission and this authentic story, and that it has informed every decision that you guys have made to create this incredible company and these incredible products. And so as a leader and as, someone who had, like checked all the boxes in the career and earned this incredible income, but like I needed to know before I worried about money and like could I do this again income wise. I needed to make sure like I was gonna root somewhere and my team and I were gonna root somewhere that was on a rock solid integrity driven mission, and that's ultimately what it is and what you've continued to build. But because it's that pure and that true, it's so simple, and we don't have to overcomplicate any of the things, including just like we literally explain our products to people as they're simple swaps for things we're already using. I'm not convincing someone to go buy, multi-$100 thing that they aren't already in their budget. It's stuff we're already buying for what goes in, on, and around us. And so for me, that translates to that I can help my team, a new advocate or another proven leader come in and see instant success because it's winnable. It's simple. You can come in and you don't, like you said, you don't have to be most of us are not expert. I'm not an expert on hormone health. I've learned so much. I'm an expert in my own journey, right? We all are, but we can come in and we can let our own story inform um, our own part, our own testimony here. But it's just really that simple of just making those simple swaps. So I've got, we've got these team and people that had never done direct sales before, many that had for a long time, and come in and see instant success on their own terms and then continue to win along the way. And so I think that that's, especially in today's climate, that's really hard to achieve. One of the things too that was really paramount to me in that kind of vetting process was like, okay, I love this mission. You make me want to run through walls, as Kim says, like I want to be part of this. So I went from maybe one day to like, how can I make this happen? And then I had to start really digging like, okay, how does this look financially? How does this look in terms of modernization of direct sales, because we see if you don't innovate, you die. Like you have to adapt and evolve as you know, consumer needs have changed and demands have changed, and the climate has changed like so much. Like we want companies that aren't able to pivot and modernize or elevate, right? There's so many different layers to that. I think are the ones that I've seen struggle a lot. And I'm like, I want to make sure that we are positioned to continue to grow and thrive. Do you know what I'm saying? So like there's a really really simple, you've done that. You built that specifically by having three business arms, like you know, three channels here. Could you speak to what those are and like why you and Ben chose that? Like chose to modernize in this way?
We did. You know, it's interesting when you start a business with a problem and you solve for the problem, it's not like we're trying to like say, okay, we need to fit ourselves into this square pole. You know, so when we were saying we want to meet our products are for everyone and we want to meet people where they are. Some people will only buy retail. Some people just want to follow affiliates. Some people want to build teams, but not everybody. But how do we meet people where they are, but then also allow our advocates to leverage their networks? This is all about relationships. And so we have our advocate model. Advocates can go and I always say that's the best model. You get 25% discount. You can earn 25 to 40% on your sales. You can earn incentive trips. You can go, you know, all the great things. But you can also build teams. Our retail program, because so then our retailers and our affiliates don't build teams, but our advocates, if they have a relationship with a local gym or spa or chiropractor's office, they can go and build them and their team is level one. If they have a relationship with an influencer or an affiliate who does not want to build a team, but just wants to they earn 20% commission, the advocates could really also build their team that way. But you're meeting consumers want to be met where they are. They don't want to be forced to buy a certain way. And so by having that, it also allows us to grow and build and be sustainable. You know, you've seen so many companies in the direct sales channel recently go directly to affiliate, where that's been very hard on people because that's how a lot of people know how to build their income. A lot of stay-at-home moms. I loved my last career, but I was on a plane almost every single week. And my son is now 7. And there are some mornings where he just needs me to be with him and snuggle and play Legos. I would have never had that flexibility before. And so I love it because as a, you know, outsider coming into direct sales and experiencing myself, the joy, and like I was with Jamie last week in New York City. She had her own incentive trip, and I brought Grace. So first, like, give me an excuse to have a vacation because I've been working nonstop. But got to
Right.
bring Grace, and you know, we named the company after our kids. The name Hugh means heart, mind, and spirit. Grace means goodness, generosity, and love. They are real people. Those are the values of our business. But it's because of what we learned trying to have them and to partner with amazing people. Our advocates are the heart of our brand. So to build with real people who make real impact, it's such an honor for us. But Ben and I also know it's a huge responsibility that weighs on our shoulders. It keeps us up at night sometimes because we want to be able to provide the best and make sure people are able to win and succeed. And you know, it's work hard, play hard. We're meant, it's, you know, and I do want to really fast on one thing, Jamie, because a lot of people say, you know, how is your company financed? Because there's can be some misalignment. My husband, so we named the company after our children. We are very, very invested in the company. We control the company. We turned away a 7-figure check when we were about to launch our business that we could have really used. We turned it away because we didn't feel like that fund would help us grow the company in an authentic way. And believe you me, it would have been much easier in our marriage, much easier on the business to accept that 7-figure check. But we said, no, this is how we need to do it. And so we take that, like, you know, it's named after our kids. We like this is a legacy brand, but we also care because it wasn't just me and Ben having our kids. My sister and sister-in-law volunteered to be our surrogates, and we have a very different definition of family, and our advocates really are advocate family. And we have people who like we partner with and we care about and we travel with and we do fun things with, but we also we stay modern. My husband's I'm incredibly brilliant and making sure that we always look ahead and we always have a plan and we know ways to watch the market, but also to stay relevant and top of mind.
Yeah. Well, and from a team side, I'm so glad you spoke to all those things, because those were many of the things that I asked early on, and I gave me a lot of confidence and excitement knowing that I was partnering somewhere that was innovative and growing and thriving versus just struggling to stay afloat, like that was growth and momentum, like being in that season, that feels really good. Like, and it feels, and I know, and knowing you and Ben so well now and seeing your commitment to us in the field, like your heart and that like you constantly are working overtime to hear us and to support us and to innovate and to help meet our needs. Everyone from, I mean, you could ask anyone on my team and they feel like they are heard and seen by you specifically, by the company. Like no one's felt like their voice doesn't matter. And that's from like day one. But with that, going back for a minute to like the advocate, affiliate, and retail, what that has translated from the team side, you guys, is that we have people that are thriving and winning online and offline. We have people that have come in with lots of experience and no experience, and they're seeing success. Fast or slow, like people being able to balance that season of life and continue to move forward, and see financial growth, impact growth, attracting a great team, helping people truly transform their health in the most simplest of ways. I can coach and mentor people through most anything, but the one thing I couldn't do for years and years was coach someone through social media burnout when the only way to build a business was on social media. And so having a way, like using a retail, having a way to build belly to belly completely offline with someone. I'm in a season where I don't love to post as much as I did for 10 years. Like, that's okay. Like, there's this flexibility and freedom to build in the way that is most aligned. A lot of that hustle culture that I think drove us and dominated the social selling space for a long time, that isn't how we have to do things. Like, we let a lot of baggage at the door with that and being able to show up really authentically in a way that feels good. We've got so many amazing leaders and advocates growing through home parties, right? Like just our local pop-up events, partnering with local businesses like a med spa, an IV bar, or boutique, like just able to have fun events in their community space and leverage those relationships. And farmers markets, we have a ton doing great stuff at farmers markets. And yes, of course, people still like doing a great job sharing in on social media too. But they get to choose the lane that is gonna be most aligned with kind of their own personal personality and their own zone of genius. And that means they're winning. And as a leader, none of this, like I knew I could come in and I could do what I could build to myself successful again, but I needed to know that I was going to pick somewhere that my team could win to, no matter what their skill set was, what their personality or their time freedom was like. I needed to know that anyone could win no matter what. And that's what we're seeing over and over and over again. And that feels like people that tried for a really long time and didn't see the success they've seen in such a short time here. And that feels so good, and proud. Like, I'm proud that we're able to offer that to people. And they're also feeling more celebrated. And like I said, I'm going to go seen and recognized. I think we have a really strong culture of recognition. And Sarah, I think it's one of Sarah's love languages. Do you want to share a little bit about why that's important part of the fabric of our culture to you? And then I want to share a little bit.
It's so fun. I love recognizing people and also seeing people achieve things they never believed were possible. I love getting texts from I received a text 2 days ago from a lady, and she goes, I always worked to achieve a trip in my last company for 6 years and never did it. She goes, and I earned Puerto Rico. And that for me, that is just something that it was, because this business model can change so many lives and just how people believe in themselves and how they show up. But recognition. I love recognition. I love, it's interesting. We have our conference every year. We call it Elevate. And what you recognize gets rewarded. And we have a really special culture at Hugh and Grace. And I mentioned earlier, the name Hugh means heart, mind, and spirit, and Grace means goodness, generosity, and love. And we give out 6 awards, 1 award for each of those values. And it's amazing because, of course, you recognize the top, and Jamie was leader of leaders this past year. And we recognize, but we're also able to recognize people who show up every day but don't necessarily may not have the skills to be the top in sales or be the top team builder. But it's a way where, but also it helps keep our culture really special. And people know that we care about the values and we care about other things other than just numbers. It's that's what I love. I would love to hear your story.
Yeah, well, no, but it's so true. And like, I think that like, and you were up on stage as everyone's winning these awards, like crying from the heart because, like care and love so much. But yeah, like I think that, um, so winning that Leader of Leader awards, I think it was just this, well, it was very emotional. I was also ugly crying on the stage, but I was so surprised by the award, but it was such a great full circle healing moment for me too, because I had worked so hard for so long. I knew I was a good leader and I worked so hard on myself to become a good leader. And I always felt like I was never good enough. I even was told I wasn't doing a good enough job at times. And so to come and in like a year, really help develop. I mean, most of these women, honestly, they lead themselves. Like they make it so easy and so fun. Like, but we have chosen to lead together, and like rather than in a silo. Like we lead collaboratively, even across the whole company. Like the other big leg of the company. Like we collaborate a lot, and are supportive and cheer one another on company wide. But on our team specifically, like we chose to kind of like leave that like competitive pageantry type of energy at the door. I'm like, we're just going to come in humble, hat in hand, and like build from the ground up. We're going to create systems. We're going to only bring into this space stuff that is working in this space. So coming in with the 10 years of systems and practices and habits, like we left it all. We left it all at the door and we're like, let's put our thinking caps on, our push up our sleeves, get elbows deep into this and what works in this season, in this year, in this space, in this like era of direct sales, and let's only teach that. So it really helped us, gave us permission to let go of a lot of that like you know, um, hustle culture type, got to work harder and grind and miss out on all the big things in life to get to our why. Like we were really able to take a deep collective breath and lean on each other. We've got such amazing leaders on our team that some are really strong in areas that I'm not as strong and vice versa. And so we can really round ourselves out so amazingly. And so to come to that point where like I was announced with that award as a leader of leaders, I was like, I felt really so proud and humbled. And it was like the first time that I felt like all of that hard work for 10, 11, 12 years to become a good leader was seen. John Maxwell teaches that law of the lid, and where you will only grow people to the level you're at. And so I took that so seriously a decade ago and I worked so hard, and I'm by no means a perfect leader. I mess up all the time. But just to see that symbolized how good we were doing as a team and as a collective community. Because it's definitely not, a leader of leaders. That is not a Jamie Award. That is like your team is a powerhouse of amazing women award that is revolutionizing this space. And that made me just so proud and so grateful. In just a year time, we've built to like 25 over 2,500 people on our team and almost like 1 million in sales in a month. Like that's crazy to me, but it's because we keep it simple. We lead together. We just focus, and because Hugh and Grace sets us all up to succeed so well, we have a 70% work like percent. It's 70% of our advocate base is working and winning. Like that number alone, that statistic, when Ben said that earlier this month, I was like, that's unheard of, right? Like
Unheard of. It's
unheard
usually
of.
a good company is usually 30%. A good
Yeah.
number is 30%, and we're
Yeah.
70 plus.
70%. And you'll hear Sara say a lot. If you follow Sara, you guys, you'll hear her say like our products are for everyone, but our company is for leaders. Like we're not out here selling a discount opportunity. Like we're truly here helping people build an income that feel proud to align here, but also want to build an income and and have a side hustle, right? Like, extra few $100s a month, something on the side, something to plug you into our purpose and community, or to like, I asked in our team yesterday, like, we had our payday, and I'm like, does anyone have any fun stories of like, what your money's going to this month? Like, if you feel really proud and so many people were like, this is my first stress-free Christmas. Like, this is the first time I can like I'm getting gifts without having to put it all on a credit card or are really stressed. And like, that's huge for some families, right? Like, and for every family, let's just be honest. And so I think that it just, it starts from you down. It starts, this heart and the spirit of this company is a trickle down thing. And I've been in a space where the trickle down was not a positive flow. It was toxic and unhealthy. And like, so coming to this space where the trickle down from you and Ben is such goodness. And like you said, like Hugh and Grace mean are those names mean such goodness, like goodness, heart, generosity, love, like all of that, like that informs all the decisions you guys make for us, and it shapes our culture. um and so I think that like it just feels, so we're also just having so much fun. But I think because it's so meaningful, we see that high percentage of people working. And because it doesn't have to look one way, it just doesn't have to look like you're on social media and doing stories and reels 24/7. Like people can truly show up in a way that feels good to them. And I don't know, how does that feel seeing this grow in the last year? Like how does it felt for you watching our team like explode?
In the best way possible.
Yeah, in the best way
In
possible.
the best way possible. No, I love it. And because I talk to people in outside the industry all the time. I talk to a lot of leaders inside the industry, and one of my greatest compliments is when people say, I am actually excited again. Like I'm actually excited again. There is more to life. There is more to life than just a grind. There is more to life than just making money. There's purpose, there's passion. These are real products, it's real meaning, but like to see lives change, to see confidence lifted, to see people who never thought they could achieve things. That is such a that's the best part of my job. And it's and Jamie is yours. And if you're a leader, if you're listening to this, I actually, if you're listening to this and you're a leader and you're not happy where you are, or maybe you just feel like there's something more out there, because Jamie, that's what you felt. And that's
Mhm.
even how I felt when we finally had our kids. And I said, Ben, like we loved our careers. They were so fun. But I'm like, Ben, you make billionaires wealthier and I went wealthy university wealthier. Like, what do we want said about us? When like, because I was hearing all these commencement speakers and we listen to Elon Musk and having these amazing speakers come in, but like, what kind of legacy do we want to have with our lives? And and Jamie, I love it because like you weren't jumping from company to company to company.
No, I
You were
never
at
got it.
one and
I
now you're here. And so like we really attract people who want to come in and create a legacy and do it with real people who care. I mean, yes, you can make great money, but it's more than just a paycheck for us. It's making impact in our lives and your lives and in your community's lives. So it's something that I do not take for granted, and um it's incredible.
I remember when I was first talking to you and you were even like, we have so many amazing women who love our brand and believe in our mission so much, and they're doing this part-time with full-time jobs. And that was like, I'm like, yes, that's what we want. We want to know that that's possible. Because that was me one day, once upon a time, right? Like I was a school counselor. I never thought I went to grad school for that. I didn't think I was going to leave that career. And I was a one and doneer in terms of the direct sales space. I'm like, this is my unicorn. Like I love it here. And then you get to that point where you're like so loyal and passionate, but then like you realize like the alignment is off. And I didn't bring my team here from my previous company. Like I've built all over again, but luckily I had amazing relationships with other leaders and other professionals that were feeling really similar things as me. And I didn't know that until I got vulnerable and I started talking about it, because it's just hard to share what like what that those struggles that are going on inside. And I will say one thing that was really universal in that, like it wasn't that I didn't think I could do it again. I was that I didn't know if I wanted to. I was like, I don't know that I have the energy to do this again. Or like just the heart, like, am I gonna just have my heart broken again? Like pour all of this in and then just the bottom fall out because I chose wrong, So it was a decision that I took very, very seriously. Like we talked for months. I was like, you guys were so patient. I was just, but my prayer and vetting process was lengthy. And so I know that to any leaders listening, like it's not an easy decision. but those are the important conversations to be having and those important questions to be asking. And yeah, knowing that like there were no full-time direct sellers in the company, that gave me like a I held my breath there for I'm like, well, is it because it's, is it possible? So I spent hours and hours talking to our VP of Ops, Amanda Lorenz. I came back probably 5 different like 30, 45-minute conversations, hour-long conversations about the comp plan. And so I saw how simple that was. And I'm like, okay, this is a winnable comp plan. It is possible. And so in the last year, that's what we've just wanted to show. We wanted to show like as a team, like that there's a side hustle income and there's a part-time income, but there's also a full-time possibility here. And I'm not going to make income claims, but I'm so proud that many of us are making better money now than we ever made before. And like in a year, you guys, and this because as a team, we have been hyper focused on keeping it simple and creating systems that people can plug into from day one. They can plug their teams into from day one and stay in their zone of genius and just have fun sharing these products with people. And then if I was to circle back to the very beginning where I was talking about my health, I will also say I'm alive again. I think part of it was I was so out of alignment and so unhealthy and stuck and my health was kind of falling apart. I didn't know if I had the energy to do it again, also literally, because I was just so unhealthy. Like I mean, my adrenal, I have Addison's now. So I didn't have the answers yet, but the last year, just taking our products and simplifying my own, I was taking like 20 something supplements a day. And now I just take hours and a few others from my function, like it's shrunken by a quarter. And I feel so much better health wise. Part of that is, proper supplementation. Part of it is just being in a environment that is giving you life instead of taking it away from you, and something that's healthy and nurturing versus toxic. And so, and that toxic looks different for everyone, right? Like those, but if you're out of alignment, then you're probably struggling with that. And that can look like so many different things to us. So we could probably keep talking about this forever, but we should probably wrap up.
Well, I always say, I'm like, we are real people making real impact. So if you're listening to this and you are wanting more out of life or wanting to explore or maybe not settled, but like, I would love for you to reach out to Jamie. Just check out Hugh and Grace. Jamie, what would you say to some, because you've been in those shoes. I've been in those shoes, meaning like I had a great life, but I knew there was more. And to be able to create more with people who also want the same things and the same values, it's it's special. It's something we don't take for granted. And if that's you, we want you here. I would love to partner with you. But Jamie, I would love just for you to close in your words.
Yeah, I think like for me, I was looking ahead. I'm like, am I going to still be having the same bad days a year, 5 years from now? Like, is there even going to be like, is there going to be a here to be in a few years, And so, I always say like, there's not a trophy. You don't get it. I don't person going to get a trophy for going down with the ship, but ultimately, like, I recognize that my loyalty was muting my logic. And at the end of the day, like I had to tell myself, I literally said, I'm like, I'm not gonna get a trophy for going down with the ship, but I am gonna not be able to pay my mortgage. And that was where I realized as soon as I caught myself like dismissing that, I'm like, no, that's a serious thing. Like that is logic. Like that is our business. We're business owners. Let's make smart business decisions. And so, loyalty is so important to me, and it's definitely something that is important in what I'm looking for. When I'm looking to partner and lead with people, I want that element, but I also want you to be making smart decisions for your family and your life and your own level of integrity. And so that would be my little nudge to your heart, is that you can be the only one to answer that, but that might take muting the noise of all of the input around you and tuning in internally and asking yourself those hard questions. And I'm always here. I would love at any point to have a heart to heart. I'm happy. I'm a safe sounding board. You can ask the big questions. You can share, and you can ask the tough questions, and like I'm would be more than happy to have those honest heart to heart conversations with you and help you see like we've been able to help, you know, like I said, we have a team of over 2,500 now, but like, you know, so many of the top leaders that I, you know, knew and recognized and respected for so long now I get to call teammates, because they see that vision that we're building here. And we would love to plug you into that vision. And I know Hugh and Grace would be so lucky to have your leadership and what you bring to the table here. So I would love the chance to talk more about it, and just so grateful to be if you had told me ever in my life, even 6 months, even like a year ago, you know, that I would be the top advocate at a company of any sort, like I would have probably rolled my eyes and laughed, because that wasn't my goal. Like I don't live in, like, I work a tenth as much as I used to work for a really long time, because I don't have to work that hard. I'm, you know, like I want to have a more balanced life. I have a rescue farm of 40 something animals. I literally don't have the time to go do those things. But it's just how winnable it is here, right? It's, we keep it so simple that you don't have to sacrifice your whole life to get ahead. Um, you just get to be you. So
I
thank
love
you
it.
for the time to chat with me today, Sarah. And thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.